Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, across the country, around the world. Welcome back to Planet Coaster Westcott. We are going to continue our development of the Bangkok, Thailand section of the World Showcase. And I know I haven't been producing much on YouTube lately. I've been busy or I've been sick. Stuff at work is a little crazy. Things are coming to a head in a few days. There's something crazy is opening up at the end of the month. So everybody's distracted with that. And I haven't had much motivation, but I'm trying to keep going. I actually recorded this a few nights ago, and now I'm finally getting to the voiceover. And I think I'll jump on the game more after I polish this off and get it ready to go. Anyway, we are going to jump in to work on more Bangkok, Thailand. We're actually going to first expand this path here back, a lot like it was expanded on the other side by Valencia, Spain, where we kind of go badoop, up and there we go. Up one thing and down one thing, and come on, come on. Yeah, the path work, I don't know, this game and its pathing is still a conundrum. It's something that I struggle with. I don't know. I'm probably missing some easy tips and tricks that I could be using, and I'm just failing at them. But it doesn't work. Like, I want nice, clean lines to things, and that's a little hard. It's good at doing swoopy, unclean lines, but I want nice, clean T-intersections. I want paths that narrow and widen and do what you want it to do. It's really hard to get it to do that with the pathing the way that it is. But we make it work. We get the paths to go. And fortunately, I noticed something a little bit later. You'll see it when I start to clean up the terrain, that with the new terrain, well, it seems like the terrain tools have been tweaked a little bit, and that when you go to clean up terrain near a path, it won't leave that piece hanging out under the path. It'll clean up pretty much all the way back to the path. You'll see in a few minutes what I'm talking about when I go and clean up those things. Anyway, we're doing this arc over here to that path there, kind of doing a bit of a mirror image of what we did over for Valencia, Spain. But here's one of those areas where the paths just don't really connect up like I want it to. And it's annoying and unfortunate. But I think I made it work, and I think it'll be okay. Yeah, kind of looking at the whole area. This area is going to go deep. You'll see here's the main path that goes back into it. And then we'll have a big building there. It's going to have a lot of stuff going on there. We'll actually have two rides in this area. They're going to go all over the place, all the way back. That big mountain in the back is going to go away. It's going to get sunk down, and it'll be interesting. So here, I want this area to be kind of, we're switching from what is, you know, on the other side, the very industrial-looking container yard and things like that. Here, we're going there. There's the terrain cleaning up. See how it cleans up so nicely against the underside of there? Yeah, I was really happy with that. Anyway, we're going to transition from that nice, or not nice, but that rugged industrial container yard look, and we're going to switch to, whoa, computer slowed. We're going to switch to more of a jungle. We're actually, I can go ahead and tell you, you'll see it later on in the episode. We're going to have a temple. I'm not sure if it's Buddhist or Hindu or what. I just looked, you know, Google search for Thai temple ruins, and I found some images, and that's kind of what I'm going off of. But I want this pathway leading up to it to be very dense and jungly, so that you can't really see what you're getting into until you get almost right up to it. So that's when we're looking at these trees. And I love the acacia trees because they branch out nice and tall and across, and they like cover the path completely. So it creates a lot of shade and nice sight lines, kind of control the sight lines a little more, which I think is a very Disney thing to be doing when they can. Sometimes you can't. But when they can, they try. Here, I was making, made some ground cover because I knew looking under the trees, you see the trunk of the tree, but then you can see straight past it. So I made that building out of a bunch of shrubberies, some, what was it, palm tree, or little palms, and some scaviola, some of the other bushes and things that are all very green and jungly like that, very fern looking to me. And so we're going to use that, just a building, copy paste, copy paste, copy paste, or a duplicate as this game calls it, to get some ground cover to block line of sight back to the temple. Because again, I don't want you to know until what it is until you're on that little S-curve there leading up to it. So that's what this is all about. And I've seen others do it. I think I've probably seen I've definitely seen Strict Toaster do it. Pretty sure I've seen Silverette do it as well. But it's a nice little trick to flesh things out without placing each little tree individually, because that gets really tiresome and tedious after a while. Really tedious and tiresome. So this is a good way to get it done. And this area will change a little bit. I've got some other plans for the pathway there. It's not going to be flat and boring and bushy, but it will change a bit later. Here, because the temple, like, I would love to use these sandstone parts if they were recolorable, because they're the right kind of stonework, they're the right kind of texture, but they're not the right color. So here I was just kind of looking at the other walls that are kind of stony and brickish. So I think we've got the actual castle wall, we've got the limestone, we've got the rough brick, and that actually is the sandstone there, that darkest one, but again, not colorable. And then there are a few other pieces that I can color and use to create other shapes. Yeah, and that's actually the sandstone piece. It's pretty good too. But I was kind of looking at this to kind of get the color and texture palette lined up for the temple that we're going to build. And the temple I found, the front of it, the front layer of it, right at the very front where the stairs are and stuff, it is like that red on the right side. It is very red, like a red clay stone or something like that. And then the upper levels are like concrete gray, dark concrete gray colors. And we'll work on that color palette. But there I was kind of getting the texture palette. We're going to put a couple of restrooms here just to have something. And it's going to be a really basic, I think, rough brick. Yeah, rough brick building. Super duper basic. That's going to kind of be reminiscent of the temple, but also kind of like, this is the jungle and people don't have much to build with, so it's like this. Yeah, just to get that there and something in that little spot to kind of help with the transition also from the industrial utilitarian cargo yard or container yard to the jungle-y area. And maybe I could do something else, another building there too. Maybe. Thinking about it. Nothing's ever complete, right? As Walt Disney said about Disneyland, as long as there's imagination left in the world, the park will never be complete. And that's true of any Planet Coaster project that anybody does. So here, moving on to some fairly, for me, fairly intense terraforming, because I'm not that great at it, not that experienced at it, but I want to block the you know, cosmopolitan world stuff over there of anti-gravity when you're in the jungle section. I don't want you to see that. And here, yeah, the rock's kind of hanging out over the monorail, and the computer freaks out. Yeah, with the monorail passing through here, that was like a 4-minute pause. And then because also, boom, there in left corner, you saw the anti-gravity coaster there, it all freaked out. So I don't know why exactly, but it just was not happy. Oh, you know, maybe partly because the monorail is paused underneath that hill, but now for the next couple minutes, you'll see it kept like pausing there and not wanting to cooperate when I was smoothing the terrain and stuff like that. It was kind of annoying. Not horrible, but kind of annoying. Anyway, we got that nice beefy berm going on there to block most of those buildings over there. And of course, one of the tallest buildings is closest to this, but it's not the end of the world. I think that was that. Yeah, we just flattened out this area to get kind of set up for the temple. And here was where we start running into, again, the game kind of paused because the terrain tools were being stupid. But here's where we kind of run into path problems, because I knew specifically what I wanted, but it doesn't want to let you do what you want to do. Like, you can't, although I probably could have once I realized the controls. The U button makes it raise, and I think J makes it lower. But it's not always that wonderfully cooperative. It makes it raise as a ramp. So I think I figured that out. In a moment or two, I'm going to pull up the extra controls. But I wanted this to be a double wide path that goes up stairs, up actual steps, not just a ramp that's sloped, but one flat plane, but actually stairs that are, you know, rise and run, up to the temple, because a lot of those temples have those stairs up there. That's a lot of the examples I had off to the side on, you know, Google Images had those stairs, and I wanted that. I think it's fairly iconic of Thai temples like that. Unfortunately, the terrain and the pathwork is not cooperative to make that happen. Not even a little bit. It's super uncooperative. I wish there was a way, like, as much as this game blows Roller Coaster Tycoon World out of the water, but Roller Coaster Tycoon Original, there I am looking at the other controls. Roller Coaster Tycoon 1, 2, and 3 had a bit more of a rigid pathing system. And sometimes I wish I could switch back and forth between rigid paths that were at a fixed height with the ground, etc., and then switch back to crazy loopy curved paths. So here I get that staircase set up the first time, and honestly I should have left it like that, and just built off the path. But then I said, wait, I want the terrain to match this level. But that was a mistake, because I get it to match, but it won't go up to the path. I have to build a path to the side and then hope I can build stairs that go back to it. But pathing does never, or terrain, as you can see from the pathwork, how it kind of goes level and funky. It never quite levels exactly correctly to the terrain, or to the path height that you want it to. It always does weird things. It always does weird things. And it's rather annoying. Yeah, this was, you can see me going back and forth here. This was a struggle for a long time, for quite a while. And I eventually said, you know what, screw it, get rid of those, flatten this out, flatten, and start again. And I don't terrain it up, but it takes me a while to get that set up again. I don't terrain it up, I just kind of go up, and, oh, this was weird too. Oh, yeah. Oh, nope, that didn't work. I try again. Oh, yeah, I removed more of the path, and there we go. That's what I want. That's half of it there. That's the staircase. It's going to lead us to the temple at a nice angle like that, and then square up the top, and that's going to be leading into kind of the quad of the temple. Oy, but that was quite the ordeal to get the pathing to work. And again, the terrain didn't match up. And they're blooping around, looking at all the terraforming I'm going to have to do. So here for this kind of entrance archway, which doesn't really look anything like any Thai temple that I've found, but it's as approximate as I can get with the parts I'm given with the game. But that's out of rough brick, and then I think I extend the walls with the lime plaster. Yeah, I look at the lime plaster, and I kind of like that one. And what you're going to see here, and what this is going to finish off with, is a very, very rough sketch of the front side of the temple. I kind of need to build up other things to make sure I get the spacing and things right before I want to add too much detail to this. But there will be much more detail work later on. So here I'm putting the stairs that kind of surround the main staircase, and using roof pieces. And I was looking online, like this pause, I was literally looking at my iPhone, like, where's this thing? Because I'm sure there's a piece that actually gets to an 1/8 grid, whereas what you see now is a 1/4 grid, but an 1/8 grid to spread that up more. I thought it was that piece, but it's not. That gives you the 1/4 grid. I already had that. There is some piece that gets you an 1/8 grid, but I couldn't find it. So I said, all right, you know what? I've seen somebody do this. I think I've seen, what's his name? Skystorm do this, where he takes some roof pieces like that, splits it off, boom, you got stairs. Looks great. Yeah, when you have the one building selected, it looks weird because they're not actually, quote, selected, but it works just fine. It looks correct. It looks like stairs. And that's the front staircase leading up to the arch, and there's some windows over behind the stairs, and other doors and things like that. So up here we extend it, and we're gonna have a small little mini tower, I guess, over the entrance here, and that's something that I see on a lot of the examples. We have a small layer of a frieze, I think it's called, up there with something a little more ornate. Yep, roof it up, and then this down here is kind of a small, like I said, a small little spire thing, and I come down here to build it because I didn't know what exactly I was gonna do, but I make it work out of pretty much all these guys. These little buttresses, I think they are. That's what I think they are. Whether that's what they're named, I'm not entirely sure. But they're little buttresses, I think. And that's what I use. Even though they're clipping a lot, but they work. Nope, not the balcony. Not anything else. I end up going with that and, yeah, duplicating it and up. And, oh, yeah, it kind of gives me the shape. It actually does give me the shape that I want. That kind of reminds me of what I'm seeing in the pictures. It's a little, because it's a little more squared off. To me, it's a little more, I almost want to say Gothic / Germanic, which makes sense because it's part of the, I think it's part of the castle walls kit. But it works. It does the approximation. You know, you can approximate as best you can given the parts that one has. Whoop. And then I need to just clean it up. There we go. And selecting the middle part because while that is sloped, or, you know, kind of stepped like that, the outsides are, yeah, big. They're like the middle piece all the way across. So that's the main, or not the main, that's the front little spire thing. And then we're going to plop this up right up on top of the entrance archway. And I got up there, I was like, oh, that's taller. No, that's okay. Because obviously it was sunk in the ground before, I didn't take into account for that when I was going to place it. But it actually is one of those happy accidents. It works out. It actually looks pretty good. And here I was using a trick that I've seen, oh gosh, I think Silverette and Strict Toaster used, where they used like the Christmas ornaments as kind of little detail-y accents here and there. And there are little like pinecone looking accents on the top of the little tower thing here that I'm modeling this after. I've also seen Silverette use these a lot to add detail, these little piratey things, but it wasn't quite working for me, not the way I wanted it to. I think he's good at layering and hiding those things in other layers of things, whereas I obviously didn't do that. I'm taking a bit more of a lazy approach to it. We put those couple of guys on there. I think I add one more. Yeah, kind of like the Tree of Life. There it is, up in the front center, kind of to hide that window gap, and then just duplicate it to the back. Yeah, that's about the extent of what we do in this episode, because I was kind of looking at that and getting an idea. Oh, wait, I lied. There's one more clip. It's not much, but there is one more clip. It's putting back in the trees. And I really wanted to make this very dense, not forest, jungle, with like a triple canopy where all these things, and like there's like no sunlight getting down to the path in the middle there. And I think the way those acacia trees, which I think are technically from Africa, they're more of a savanna tree and not actually a jungle tree, but the way they cross over like that, I couldn't not use them. They're too perfect for this. But the way that they block the path, and really, yeah, you could see that sight line for a moment there, the way that it really blocks your line of sight was just perfect for this. And then I looked at the reference pictures, and there was also trees that were kind of big and bushy like this, so I figured I'd put as kind of background trees to also block line of sight, because there was a few spots where you could see through the trees. I'm like, oh, there's a temple there. Oh, there's a temple there. So I tried to put a few bushier things here and there to really, really hide it. Yeah, so that's the extent of the building that we really do in this episode. This was something that I knocked together in like an hour and a half, I think. And it was like a week ago that I recorded this, that I played this and recorded it, and now I'm doing the dialogue because of, again, things and work and being sick and, oh yeah, seeing the dentist, yay. But now I think after this processes, I'm going to jump into more Planet Coaster and keep going with the Thailand section to keep that going, because it's going to be big things. Again, here I'm looking at the monorail, because we are going to build a monorail station into the temple as well as two other quote e-ticket rides there. You'll see what those are soon, possibly next episode, maybe next episode. We'll see what my timeline ends up being like. Anyway, that's going to be it for this episode. Oh, I think I plopped a few more trees. But yeah, that's it for this episode. Thanks for watching. Thanks for hanging out. If you like, hit subscribe. Tell your friends. Tell your neighbors. Pass the word. I will catch you later.